Hello, this is Dodie from Deliberate Aging. Welcome to my podcast. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to age gracefully, staying active and vibrant well into their 90s and even beyond 100? It turns out it's not just good genetics. Lifestyle and environment play a huge role. Enter the concept of blue zones, real places around the world where people live significantly longer and healthier lives compared to the rest of us. These aren't just random cases of longevity. These are entire communities where reaching 100 years old is common. So where did the name blue zones come from? Interestingly, it all started when researchers were studying these longevity hotspots and used a blue pen to circle the areas on the map where people consistently lived longer. The term was later made famous by researcher Dan Buettner, who dove deep into what makes these regions so special. If you'd like more information on the blue zones and Dan Buettner, he's written several books that you can find, but he's also got a Netflix documentary that's quite interesting, and I recommend that you check it out. So, what makes a place a blue zone? Every so often, scientists reassess global life expectancy, and while some places fall below the average, others exceed it by a remarkable margin. These longevity hotspots are what we now call blue zones. But here's the fascinating part. The people in these communities aren't actively trying to live longer. They don't follow strict longevity diets, count steps on a Fitbit, or obsess over gym memberships. They simply live in a way that naturally promotes health and longevity. For example, people in blue zones tend to be physically active, not by hitting the gym, but through their daily routines. A shepherd in Sardinia walks miles each day tending to sheep. An Okinawan elder tends to a garden. And Nicoyans keep busy with outdoor chores. Their movement is woven into their lifestyle rather than scheduled into a fitness routine. So where are the blue zones? Well, there are currently 5 recognized blue zones. Number 1 is in Okinawa, Japan. Number 2, Sardinia, Italy. Number 3, the Nicoya Peninsula of Costa Rica. Number 4, Ikaria, Greece. And the 5th one is the only one in the U.S. It's Loma Linda, California. These regions have been extensively studied to uncover the common factors that contribute to their residents' long, healthy lives. And the key elements that they found include a whole food, plant-based diet, strong social connections, regular physical activity integrated into their daily lives, effective stress management techniques, and a sense of purpose, known as ikigai in Japan. So let's take a closer look at each of these fascinating places and what makes them unique. Let's start with Sardinia, Italy, a land of strong bonds and daily movement. So in Sardinia, a secluded island in the Mediterranean, people enjoy a diet rich in plants, whole grains, and healthy fats like olive oil. They also have incredibly strong family ties, which provide emotional and social support as they age. One particularly interesting fact, Sardinia has the highest concentration of male centenarians in the world. A common profession in the region is sheep herding, which requires a lot of walking, at least 5 miles per day. And here's a heartwarming detail. Studies suggest that men who have daughters tend to live longer, possibly due to the additional care and attention they receive as they age. Number 2 is Okinawa, Japan, the home of the world's longest living women. This place is famous for its incredibly long-lived women, many of whom live to be over 100. But their secret isn't just their diet, although their meals are filled with vegetables, tofu, sweet potatoes, and anti-inflammatory foods. One of the most unique aspects of Okinawan life is something called a moai, a small, tight-knit social group that serves as a lifelong support system. These groups help members navigate life's ups and downs together, reducing stress and fostering a strong sense of belonging. Now let's look at Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica. The people of Nicoya follow a traditional diet of beans, squash, corn, and tropical fruits, which provide them with plenty of nutrients. But it's not just about food. Purpose plays a huge role in their longevity. In Nicoya, the concept of plan de vida, a reason to wake up every morning, is deeply ingrained. Having a strong sense of purpose helps residents stay mentally, emotionally, and spiritually fulfilled, which translates to a longer, happier life. Next, let's turn our attention to Loma Linda, California, which stands out as the only blue zone in the United States. The secret? Many of its residents belong to the Seventh-day Adventist community, which prioritizes faith, family, and health. Many Adventists follow a vegetarian or plant-based diet. They observe a weekly Sabbath, or a day dedicated to just rest and rejuvenation, and they place great emphasis on community and faith-based social interactions. The last one we're going to examine is Ikaria, Greece, the island where people forget to die. In Ikaria, the Mediterranean diet is at its finest, rich in vegetables, beans, olive oil, and whole grains. But food alone isn't the key to longevity here. Life in Ikaria is laid back and stress-free. Daily naps, strong social bonds, and a culture that values relaxation and enjoyment contribute to their long and happy lives. So, once an area is designated as a blue zone, do they stay that way permanently? And the answer to that is no. Well, with modernization creeping into these regions, some blue zones, specifically Okinawa, are seeing declines in life expectancy as Western diets and sedentary lifestyles take hold. So the big question is, can we create new blue zones? And according to Dan Buettner, the answer is yes. The Blue Zones Project was launched in 2009 to transform cities and communities into longevity-friendly environments. And they did this by using a three-pronged approach. First of all, they're designing walkable neighborhoods to encourage natural movement. They're fostering social connections to reduce loneliness. And they're promoting healthier food options as opposed to processed junk food. The first test site was Albert Lea, Minnesota, where within just 1 year, residents increased their average life expectancy by 2.9 years. The success of this project has led to the expansion of Blue Zone initiatives in over 50 communities across the U.S. So how can you personally live like you're in a blue zone? Well, even if you don't live in one of these magical places, you can still incorporate Blue Zone principles into your daily life. So start by eating whole on processed foods and cook more of your meals at home. Build social connections. Maybe start a book club, have regular coffee dates with friends, or host a game night. And move naturally. Walk instead of drive. Take the stairs. Do chores manually instead of relying on gadgets. So my personal experience trying to live the Blue Zone's way. Well, I've been working on incorporating Blue Zone habits into my own life, but I'll be honest, some aspects are easier than others. Let's take diet, for example. I naturally gravitate toward plant-based foods, but since my family eats meat, I often find myself cooking meals that accommodate both. My favorite Blue Zones inspired dishes is the longevity stew. And I make a big batch of this on Sundays and enjoy it throughout the week. One concept I find challenging is eating until you're only 80% full. This one is tough. I read an interesting tip that helped. It says, eat until you feel like you could still do a gentle yoga class after your meal. That's helped me gauge my fullness a bit better, but I still find this one really challenging. Now, exercise. This one is easy for me because exercise is second nature to me. I've been active my whole life, and I know that I feel better when I move, so I just do it out of habit. Another challenge for me is work-life balance and social connection. As an introvert, I struggle with making time for social interaction, and I know that I don't have a good work-life balance. I'm a workaholic. So I have a few close friends, but I don't see them as regularly as I should. And this is something that I'm personally working on. So final thoughts. The Blue Zone's lifestyle is about small, meaningful changes that add up over time. Whether it's eating better, staying active, fostering relationships, or managing stress, we can all take steps to improve our longevity and well-being. And who knows, maybe with enough effort, we can create more blue zones right where we live. My call to action for you this week is to try to incorporate a blue zone aspect into your life, whether that be adding some more steps, eating better food, reaching out and fostering social connection. Do what you think would have the most impact for you. Give it a try. Let me know how it works. Thanks for listening. This is Dodie from Deliberate Aging. Until next time, be well, friends. This podcast is presented solely for informational and educational purposes only. Use of information from this podcast is at the user's own risk. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your physician or other qualified professional. We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from use of this podcast.